Hello again and welcome to Last Time Studios Top 10 Things You May Not Know. Let's give you a clue about this week. Da, 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 da. In honour of the late great Sean Connery and our love of all things Indiana Jones, we'll be taking a dive into the facts you may not know about the third instalment in the series, The Last Crusade. Yeah, let's not talk about that fourth one. Like many film lovers out there, I'm sure it's burned into the back of your memory for all the right reasons, and hopefully you'll get a few more insights into this absolute classic. So let's start with number 10. Was always going to be the main man. Right at the very beginning of the third installment's production, the team knew categorically that they wanted Sean Connery to play the role of Indy's father. Even though at the start Connery was sceptical, mainly due to the fact that he was only 12 years Harrison's senior, the producers wouldn't take no for an answer, and James Bond was the original inspiration for the character. Once they got him on board, Ford and him had an instant chemistry. Harrison Ford was quoted saying, "It was just really great to work with an actor who doesn't give a shit. I don't mean about the craft, but about the ego, we just clicked." Number 9. Ford's fave. The third installment was actually Harrison Ford's favourite of the movies, same here. He felt that having Sean Connery on board and fleshing out Indy's past gave an added sophistication to the film, and I'm not going to lie, I think we can all agree with that. Number 8. Stripping on set. Okay, so the scene where Indy and his dad are dining on board the German blimp. The scene was supposed to take place in the winter, however filming actually took place in the summer. In order to keep cool and avoid sweating profusely in front of the camera, they both took the pants off. Can you imagine having to keep a straight face while that was going on under the table? Hilarious. Number 7. Not its first name or story. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade wasn't actually the original name for the film. It was originally to be titled Indiana Jones and the Monkey King. Not only that, but the story started off very differently, so we could have seen Indiana going up against a ghost in a haunted mansion in Scotland. How crazy would that have been? And he doesn't have the best Scottish accent, let's be honest.
Even me, the man is dense. This is a castle, isn't it?
Number 6. Movie effects history. The film has the very first ever complete digital composite shot. Yeah, it's aged, but it's an amazing slice of cinematic history. It's the scene in the Grail chamber where we see Elsa give Donovan the cup she makes him believe is the Grail. And for those of you that never saw the scene, maybe you fell asleep, maybe you were at the toilet, who knows, but he chose poorly and Donovan rapidly ages before turning into a skeleton and falling onto the floor. Amazing. Number 5. Real Nazi uniform. A lot of Nazi uniforms were used in the film, and they were the authentic thing. Costume designer Anthony Powell studied photos of the infamous uniforms, and then he even went one step further and combed Eastern Europe with his team to track down as many real uniforms as possible. Number 4. Rats frightened her away. Alison Doody snagged the role of Elsa, but it might surprise you to know she wasn't the original pick for the role. Originally, Amanda Redman was offered the part, but she had to turn it down due to her extreme fear of rats. I think I would have found a way to get through that, wouldn't you? Number 3. Powering through. What a legend. Denham Elliott, who played Marcus Brody, finished the film off despite suffering with the side effects of AIDS. The actor's portrayal of the character is one of the most memorable parts of the whole Indiana Jones franchise. The Last Crusade was filmed in the late 80s during the height of the HIV/AIDS epidemic, and at that time Elliott contracted the illness prior to shooting. Due to this, he was frequently ill on set, but it's amazing that he never suffered on screen. What a performance. That's dedication to your art. That's wonderful. Sadly, the actor would succumb to the illness in 1992, passing away from AIDS-related tuberculosis in his home in Spain at the age of 70. Elliott got a tribute in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where Brody has long since passed, but is memorialised in the university he worked in. Bravo, and well deserved. And before our 2 top picks, here's some honourable mentions. Indy's scar is real. The opening to The Last Crusade gives the origin story showing how Indiana finds his hat and his whip and how he gets his scar on his chin. Although young Indy may have accidentally whipped himself in the chin to get the scar, Ford on the other hand actually got it in his early 20s in a car accident in Southern California. Although at the beginning the scar only served to give Indy a more rugged look, it was finally canonised in The Last Crusade's prologue. And sticking with young Indy facts, Harrison Ford actually recommended River Phoenix for the role. They'd previously worked together on another project, and Ford told Spielberg that compared to the other young actors being considered for the part, Phoenix looked most like him as a teenager. Ford actually did most of his own stunts, including the tank, involving him hanging from the cannon as the tank driver tried to crash against the wall. Always felt nervous watching that scene. Uncredited writer Tom Stobbart, who wrote most of the dialogue between Indy and Henry, made major bank for the rewrites. Before the film's release, he was paid a not too shabby $120,000, and following the success of the film, he was given a bonus of $1 million, and that's back in the 80s. Wow. The Last Crusade did wonders for Petra's tourist industry. Before the film, they only saw a few thousand visitors each year. After that, they saw millions. The King and Queen of Jordan actually befriended Spielberg and regularly visited the set of The Last Crusade. Queen Noor is said to have given Spielberg a ride, and the King even lent them 4 horses in the production. That's the very 4 horses that you see as the heroes ride into the sunset at the end of the movie. In order to make Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, Spielberg turned down both Big and Rain Man. And back to our list with number 2, all the rats. We've touched on the rats already. Interestingly, in order to create the horrifying rodent-filled catacombs, they had some crazy issues to contend with, but not like you'd think. The rats had to be clean and disease-free, and there had to be around 2,000 of them to meet production demands. And don't panic, the mechanical rats were used in the torture scene. Can you imagine being one of those producers making that call? Hello, yes, Pet Shop, I'd like the rats. All the rats. I mean, it just leaves more questions. What happened to all the rats after filming? Did they get good homes? Are they okay? Is there a rat farm out there for retired rats of The Last Crusade? I'm not quite sure how I feel about that one. And coming in on the number 1 slot, number 1. Here, doggy doggy. Okay, so most of us already know that Henry Jones Jr. called himself Indiana after his childhood family dog. But what you may not know is this is actually how he got his name on and off screen. Well, in a way. See, George Lucas had a dog named Indiana, and this ultimately led to the source of the famous archaeologist's name. So that's it for another week of Top 10s. Remember, the 4th film is terrible, never watch it. That's what I think anyway, but I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.